With U.S. property casualty industry results pressured significantly in recent years, particularly in auto and homeowners, some insurers have been able to bolster their bottom line by cutting underwriting expenses. Here to discuss an AM Best report on the subject is Christopher Graham, Senior Industry Analyst, Industry Research and Analytics, AM Best. So, Chris, what are the components to underwriting expenses?
Good morning, John. Thank you for having me. There's four categories on the insurance expense exhibit that make up the underwriting expenses. Commission and brokerage is one of them, probably the most obvious to any consumer. There's taxes, licenses, and fees to operate in whatever states where they have licenses. There's other more broad categories of general expense and other acquisition expenses, which will include things like advertising and salaries of underwriters and those kind of expenses.
Have any of them seen a more notable shift than others in recent years, Chris?
Overall, over the last 10 years, we've seen underwriting expenses collectively decrease. We have seen an increase in commission and brokerage expenses overall, with decreases in the other acquisition expense and general expense. Like I said, overall, this has led to a decrease collectively, even though the commission and brokerage has gone up.
Chris, have you noticed any trends on commission or brokerage rates, either by line or by geography?
We did notice two things related to homeowners. One, homeowners for personal lines had a higher commission and brokerage ratio than personal auto insurance. And we also noticed that within New England, commission and brokerage was generally higher than the rest of the country, which makes sense given that the loss ratio on homeowners has been much better in New England than the rest of the country. New England being less prone to hurricanes and the severe convective storms that we've seen, it brings about more competitive business. The loss ratio is better, more competition among the insurers to get the better business. So there is a tendency to pay a higher commission ratio to the agents in those areas for the better business.
And Chris, what are we seeing when it comes to advertising spending on the part of PC insurers?
We have seen a decrease in 2022 and into the early part of 23. Not surprising, because that advertising is heavily focused on personal auto insurance. It's your largest personal auto insurers who are focusing the most on advertising, and personal auto has not been doing well for macroeconomic factors that go beyond what's in the control of the insurer, even at rate level. So if a line's not doing well, why are you going to advertise that you're selling the product, right? Obviously they're going to stay in business and be selective in the underwriting process, but if it's losing money until you can turn that around, it makes sense to pull back the advertising. Also, because when you're losing money on a line, or in general, advertising is the easiest expense to cut. It doesn't, all they have to do is not buy an ad slot, and then when things start turning around, buy the ad slot again. It's easier to move advertising dollars up and down, even more so than headcount and employee staff. So it makes sense that advertising would be down when personal lines, which make up the largest segment, the largest segment of insurance, are struggling at this point.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, John.
That was Christopher Graham, Senior Industry Analyst, Industry Research and Analytics for AM Best. You can find the full report online at ambest.com. For AM Best TV, I'm John Weber.